Alright guys, welcome back to the channel here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today I'm going to be digging into the new engine for the MR2, the 4AG-ZE. And you're also probably wondering what I plan to do with that motor, because I have two engines and one MR2. So I'm thinking if I can get enough of you to subscribe to the channel, I will pick up a roller and maybe, just maybe, make a giveaway car with that engine in it. And that would include a Garrett turbo as well. Very fun. So giveaway car potential, get me to 1,000 subscribers, and I should be able to pick one up. But I'm going to start tearing into this, see what we have. Apparently has custom JE pistons in it that are aluminum. It has apparently forged rods and the factory forged cranks. So it seems like it's going to be a pretty nice build. Also do need to clean up quite a bit because it has been sitting for a bit, has dust, dirt, and just a lot of things all over it. So yeah, let's get started. So actually, come to find out, this is not an actual genuine HKS kit. It's just a replica of it. So what they did is they took the factory manifold and basically chopped the bottom of it off and just welded a turbo T3 flange on it. And then of course kept the supercharger on there. I'm not exactly sure which supercharger this is. Obviously it's an SC12. But I don't know if it was a built one, like rebuilt from like HKS or something like that, but I'm definitely gonna run that one. Do have a spare down here and a couple other things that I need to go through, like there's an extra box here with a nice water to air intercooler. It's made by a company called Spearco, which apparently is a really good company. Here on the other side of the Miata, I have an extra factory exhaust manifold for an NA. And then I have some more parts. Looks like I have a starter, a couple different things in here. Wiring harness. There's even an original Apexy controller that's kind of a piggyback system for the old system that they were using on the vehicle. But yeah, extra distributor, ignition coil. I just have a lot of parts that came along with this engine. The reason for me mainly tearing this down is to make sure everything inside is okay, since it has been sitting for a bit, and especially in Florida humidity. There's a lot of surface rust on stuff. Need to make sure that everything's going to run properly, that there's no rust. Like here on the back of the crank, there's a bit of rust. Need to make sure that's going to be savable, and just kind of go through everything, put some new assembly lube in it, and make sure it's just going to fire right up and make all the boost. The other reason I'm taking everything apart is to go through and see exactly what parts are in here. So for example, there's some HKS cams in here. Try to figure out the profile and spec of those. I do know there's adjustable cam gears in here. Trying to also see if there's any valve work or head work, head porting, anything like that. Also, maybe even check to see if there is upgraded valve springs in there, because that would be real nice, especially with the higher boost, so you don't get valve float. But these are some interesting cam gears. I've never seen any like it. I may try to get some HKS ones, make this kind of a whole HKS build, make it, you know, as close to a classic original build as possible. Also noticed when they were assembling this, they left out the front main cam caps there and the cam seals on both the intake and exhaust side there. So I'm gonna have to either source those or check through everything that I was given to see if possibly they're in there.
We were staying in Paris to get away from your parents, and I thought, wow, if I could take this in a shot right now, I don't think that we could work this out on a terrace. I don't know if it's fair, but I thought, how could I let you fall by yourself? Well, I'm wasted with someone else. If we go down, then we go down together. They'll say you could do anything, they'll say that I was clever. If we go down, then we go down together. We'll get away with everything, let's show them we are better. Let's show them we are better. Let's show them we are better. We're staying in Paris.
Alright, so I can't tell if the ports have been ported. There are score marks on each individual one, like they were trying to port it, or maybe they were port matching to the manifold. But so far everything seems to be pretty good. Everything's pretty clean in there too.
Standing there with a frown and a cigarette, posting pictures of yourself on the internet out on the terrace. We're breathing the air of this small town on our own, cutting glass with the thrill of it, getting drunk on the past we were living in. If we go down, then we go down together. They'll say you could do anything, they'll say that I was clever. If we go down, then we go down together. We'll get...
Well, we also have one other issue. It's the dipstick for the supercharger. No oil with it, so I'll have to get some supercharger oil.
Let's show them we are better. We're staying in Paris.
I got this intake pipe off of the supercharger here, and if you look down in there, there's a bunch of wood shavings in there. You can kind of see it. There's like a big old pile of them in there. I'm hoping this is going to be okay, because if you just slightly rotate this supercharger here, there's a bunch of like score marks on here, but yeah, that's what I've run into right now. Alright, about to have a moment of truth here. I'm going to break this loose, but it's also going to tell me if the engine rotates over, because it's either going to rotate or I'm just going to break this loose. And if, hopefully I can break this loose. Nope. Well, the engine rotates over. And now that leads me to not being able to break this off. Or I can try. Let's see here. Oh wow, that actually worked. I guess it was just a little bit more than finger tight. So I also think some of this engine may be from Japan. It's got the Japanese stickers on here, which obviously the American version didn't have. And I remember talking with the guy, and he said that he did get like an entire back half of a car from Japan. They apparently like just chopped it off from like here, and then just sent in the whole back piece with the engine and stuff. So this may have some actual Japanese parts. Not that these aren't actually Japanese parts, just more, you know, like that. The little stuff, the little Japanese stickers. What I'm also debating doing is taking that and putting it on that. That would obviously mean taking the ITBs away, but I would technically still have the ITBs. We'll get back to that. Although I do obviously want to put, it's not obvious because I've never told anyone this, but I do want to put an LS in here. And same gentleman I got that engine from said he has an extra LS, and I may be able to run down there and get that as well. I think I've had a slight change of plans. So obviously I want a just running and driving car at this point. I do need to do a lot. I still want to put Mega Squirt and everything in here, cut out engine bay, but there is a lot, an absolute lot to do on this engine. This one I know, if I just get timing stuff put back together, it can run and drive. And the simplest thing I can do, because the gentleman gave me a new exhaust manifold for an NA, I can put it back together just NA and run it and drive it how I want. Or I also have the option to take the exhaust manifold off this engine, because it has the turbo flange on it, to put my turbo on and do all of that. Still have a turbo running driving car while I tear this down, go through everything, make sure everything is good. I can figure out exactly what cams these are and get different cam gears like HKS ones, just make this a quality build. So I think that's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my engine I already have, build everything around it, intercooler, all that stuff, put the turbo manifold on, and probably scrap that turbo manifold because clearly it's just not going to work for this specific setup. Don't get me wrong at all, I still do plan to put this in this MR2 and then find a new home for that engine in another MR2 or maybe even an 8.6 that I can use as a potential giveaway car. I would just like this running and driving as quick as possible because I need to really get this back over to my worst collision center so they can really get everything here pushed up a bit more so that new upper core support can finally go on and I can really start getting into getting this car back to factory silver and really start making this thing just look clean and get new wheels and tires and make sure they're going to fit, everything like that. So for now, just stick with the old plan, get everything going on that, and have this as a backup engine, especially when I can actually get the E51 transmission instead of the C52, because I know I'm going to drive boosted and that thing's going to blow up and shatter into a million pieces. So now that I have a plan, I can get to work. Now that I know my plan, I can actually start moving this thing around so I can get to the engine bay to start cutting shit out. Alright, one of the things I'm going to start with here is open the trunk up here, probably start removing this carpet out of here, and really look at where the wiring goes through so I can figure out how I want to mount the Mega Squirt and probably reuse factory location or stuff like that. So this is the air box on like the late model 87s to 89s. They are inside the trunk, which is really freaking cool, but I didn't know this duct went all the way across. I figured it just went down into the fender, but no, it goes all the way across and up into here, which comes out on this passenger side to here. So it ducts all of its air technically from right there. That's really interesting. Or it may even come down to here, but I'm pretty sure, because if you look inside of here, there's like a bunch of little holes. So it sucks everything out from the passenger side, even though air box is over on the driver's side. That's really interesting. But yeah, looking at how everything is mounted up here for the ECU, I should be able to just basically reuse this kind of setup. It comes through this more center hole for a lot of the stuff. I figured it would come out of that one, but I'll have to go through and figure out what all of that is. Figure out where all this wiring actually does go. Figure out probably where I'm going to mount a Deutsch connector, so I can just have one pull-off plug when I go to pull the engine again. Make it really simple, and figure out what the speed control piece is. I don't know if that controls like engine speed, like tach, or what that actually really entails. So a lot I gotta figure out here with wiring. I do plan to relocate the battery to right here. Probably gonna mount it right about in this area. Use a probably like a Braille battery. Make a mount nicely right in here for the battery tray, and just make it real nice. Yeah. As I'm going through this process, of course, I'm going to be keeping like the regular body harness. So for like tail lamps, things like that. The only thing I'm replacing everything for is pretty much anything drivability related. So cooling fan, the engine control module, whatever that is, which I'm going to figure out if that's just cruise control. Definitely going to get rid of that if it is just that. I have to remove, of course, the cruise control module or the cruise control actuator out here because it doesn't work anyway. And just go through everything. I'm going to trim the harness, probably relocate that fuse box that sits right there to the trunk here as well. Just make everything look nice, and maybe not even use that fuse box if I can, because of course I can build my own fuse and relay box to just sit nicely in here, make it just really clean up the engine bay basically, and make this I'll probably still put the carpet back in, just cut it to fit around like battery tray and fuse box and everything, just to kind of make it look like OE plus. Good old Toyota speed control. I'm assuming that's for cruise control. Here we go. Engine controlled Toyota 4AG manual transmission. Then here we have the cooling fan module. There's some sort of weird relay attached to this. It literally just says circuit open. I'm assuming this is like a main power 12 volt relay, so may be able to reuse that if I feel like it. Entire EFI harness out. That was actually surprisingly simple for this entire wiring harness to come out of there, but I don't think I'm going to mock my harness off of this, because I'm going to throw the engine in and then build my harness around the engine just to make sure I can, you know, properly wire everything where I want it to go so it looks clean and not just thrown together. Well, now knowing that the EFI harness is that simple to get out of these things, it's actually not bad, because now I just... Yep, that was coolant and hopefully not fuel. Anyway, ground cable, that's simple, basically the entire EFI harness. I have this harness that runs through over to here. I'm guessing also powers lights. I don't know why this connector is here though, so I'm gonna have to go into my Haynes manual and see where this run out is. I'm assuming this is probably for the cruise control module, But well, I'll address that later when I get further along in these videos. So yeah, pretty simple. Now time to get into the engine bay here, remove all this stuff, cruise control, and really start cleaning up everything in here. So maybe even move that coil as well. So now that I'm on top of the world, looking down on creation, the only explanation I can find is to end the video right here and see you guys in the next one. So just remember, don't quit on a body that won't quit. Please tell me one of you guys knows that song, as I'm gonna feel old. I already feel old. Ugh.